Ladies and gentlemen, there is this drama that is deviling Davy Jr. with Adonna. You remember Adonna who was helping the dancing grandma through my Kizo in building or coming up with a customized chicken coop. The drama itself has taken a negative tangent. That is, it's the problem. The problem is not helping the grandma. The problem is not that my Kizo is there. The problem is now the hot argument. Well, the argument sometimes might be there, but so constructive. But now the tangent in which the argument itself has taken, it is a worrisome. And that's why I just want you to watch this video.
So we cooked inside the animal house. You see this house, even the animals, they stay on the other side. You see this other side, animals, they stay, but it looks so clean. And this other side they cook from. So there is nothing big at all when and it was a special occasion. I mean, we didn't want embarrassment or something. But to those who felt offended, now they are abusing me. I'm sorry, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry if you are offended. But please, when you are supporting others, it feels good when you support without expecting anything in return. Because this Donna, she's getting out of control, not even abusing me like F you, Davy.
I'm telling you, the argument is so hot, and it is comparable to what you call the earthquake. The earthquake leaked because it's seismic kind of an event that causing panic in everyone's life. There's something that Davy Jr. cannot understand, because the donor herself or himself is questioning why Davy Jr. let people cook into that chicken coop before it was finished or before it was already launched. The bone of contention, the donor was really crying for the timber. That is the problem, because everything there was now being blown out of context. But that one could not also be the problem. The problem is, into now, these things has already morphed into a heated argument between Davy Jr.'s inbox and the donor's inbox. The donor is throwing insult, so abusive, even to the extent of using the FU word. That is the worrisome, and that is the thing that we really need to come up with and dissect the reasons as to why the donor has now transgressed from helping the grandma, from even asking the question why the kitchen coop was being used, to FU word. That is the bone of contention, and that is the reasons as to why we really need to ask ourselves the question: was the donor right even to ask? Was the donor right even to give a complaint? And why even at this moment the donor is abusing Davy Jr. with the FU word? That is the bone of contentions, and that is the reason as to why we want to delve deep into analysis. And there is more that is awaiting us at the progression stages of the video. So if you're coming across this channel for the very first time, kindly click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, YouTube shall notify instantly. To my loyal subscriber, may God bless you abundantly. So let's dive in straight away after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to our YouTube chit chat. My name is Sinazak and this is my YouTube channel. So let's dive in straight away lest we forget. Guys, the question is, was Donna right to insult Davy Jr.? Was Donna right to even ask the progress and why the chicken coop is being used to cook? Those are the two questions that we really need to ask ourselves. As I'm opining, I've said there is no problem with argument. Sometimes argument could be so criticism. And sometimes we also need to take some critical issues anytime whenever they opine or pen down, of which Davy Jr. acknowledged. Then where's the problem? Moving forward, we are going to unearth the reasons as to why Donna decided to throw that insult to Davy Jr. And we are going also to unearth whether the donor was so right in asking the progress of the chicken coop and why the chicken coop was used to cook. But before we do that, there is particular kind of a video that really happened that I want us to watch. Then I will come and give us the objective and perspective of it going forward.
Yeah, he said he eats even 5 times a day.
Huh? Oh my God.
Like he's okay. If he wasn't okay, he'd be at home.
Oh,
Yeah.
he could
He
run.
could have just been here.
Oh wow. Jonte, you've heard from your brother Brian. Brian is doing well. Food is in plenty. Everything.
He was asking for pocket money.
Oh.
1,000.
All right.
But
Maybe.
I refuse. I want him to have that food for there in rehab like others.
But he's not even the one managing the pocket money. It's the people who are
He
just
told
going to
me,
just give him.
Maybe translate that.
That he has grown
Grown big.
big. He has grown
Yeah,
fat.
because the facility that we took him.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, it's very easy to identify a good facility. When you see they pay a lot of money just to know like it's worth it.
Say that he's okay. Even the craving for liquor, he doesn't feel them anymore.
Oh, if we translate
Like
that,
they have given him some medicine. He doesn't feel like
the urge of getting liquor.
Liquor. I know.
Wow, I'm so happy for
and
him,
he was
guys.
saying like, ni mwezi moja atatu. But ngombe tuenda kumuona mwezi ukisha.
That's why I played that video.
I know him.
It's a video that Brian himself called back to the parents because he wanted to know the situation itself. But the very main reasons for calling was to give the status update and a report on how his situation at the rehabilitation center is. The revelation itself is so positive that Brian decided to even let the family know that one is doing well, that there is food they can even eat up to 5th time. And you know the Brian with food, because sometimes at the dancing grandma, sometimes the Junior sometimes could reprimand Brian never to eat too much. But now the food is too much at the rehabilitation center that Brian is telling us he's been eating up to 5th time. That now the Brian is not the way that you've seen. The Brian has become so chubby and flabby and flaccid at the same time. And that is the report that is so positive that we're getting from Brian. Remember, even when Matiko came out from the rehabilitation center, that Matiko was even made a chef. Not a chef, the head of the service, the head of the dining. He was the one making sure people have eaten, is the one making sure that everything's are well. Therefore, you serve yourself first or after when people are eating, so you make sure that your stomach is so well and full and satisfied in equal measures. I think it's the same thing that Brian Vapor is experiencing. Another great report, Brian is telling us that he's now not lasting and thirsty for alcohol because he's been given drugs really to cleanse his body system, that it cannot even feel the thirstiness of the alcohol itself. And that is what we call the toxicology, because you needed to be cleansed the body. Then the drug itself is induced to remove such kind of toxin that makes you so lasting and so makes you so thirsty of an alcohol or drug and substance overuse. That Brian has told us that the progress itself is seriously well. And that is kudos, which means Brian is responding well to the changes, to the behavioral, everything that Brian is receiving is well. We can say from that kind of a status update report. And the second thing, Brian requested of the pocket money. And the reason behind it, the pocket money couldn't be given at that time because the family wants Brian to get used to that food, Such kind of people, when they are doing rehabilitation, you don't let money land to their hand because at one point they might sneak some kind of drug and substance of abuse within the rehabilitation center. But perhaps you're also being told whenever you put on the pocket money, it will be taken care of the people, the matron or the patron, so that they regulate on what you used to. If you want something to order, they will order you bread, they give you rather than giving money. Just like they're doing in boarding schools. And again, Brian is telling us he's liked the rehabilitation status just like home. The rehabilitation center and the staffs there have taken good care of Brian, but Brian is feeling home. Brian doesn't want to come at home. And if you want to know that Brian is feeling at home, Brian has decided to stay there. Brian has not even escaped. And Brian even said loudly that if that place could be unbearable, could be not home, he could have already gone back home. And by the fact that Brian has taken time to be there and so happy, simply means the place is so good and the place is so superb. And at this moment, I believe Brian is ready to change. Brian is going to change. And what is happening with Brian as at now, it is something that we must praise God. It's something that we must tell people behind it that thank you very much for helping Brian. But I will also want to urge, this is not the time that Brian should get out of the rehabilitation center. I've heard that is the first Brian is going to be there for three months. But I believe that 3 months Brian should not even take time to get back home. It should be subsequent. Or perhaps if Brian takes time out at home, let it be 1 week, then he gets back immediately to the rehabilitation center, so that it is a 1 year, 6 months, or 8 months treatment. So that when he comes out when he's clean. He comes out a changed person. He comes out and gets to a different system, a different environment. And I believe the rehabilitation center has got this program, that the referral and linkages, whereby they will trace Brian to monitor Brian's behavior. Then all things should be well. At this moment, we only pray for Brian, and we mean well, and we are waiting to see how Brian will blossom at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, it is never stopped from there. A lot of argument and hot argument between DavyJnr and the donor really escalated a top notch. At this moment, it has taken a negative tangent, and this is why DavyJnr was lamenting. Let us address the first video that I featured. The donor was complaining why the chicken coop that is building was being used to prepare food. Secondly, the donor cried for the timber, that the timber was messed up, and even forced the Mike Kizo to go and film them and apologize. I believe at the moment where the Mike Kizo filmed it and did everything so well and pictured it on the video and featured it, that the donor was aware what was going on and nothing was broken, nothing was a mess. At that moment, the donor ought to have calmed down. The donor ought to have to withdrawn all other kind of statement that he had already thrown during the DavyJnr's premiere. But the continuation of even throwing insult itself has really revealed, one, the donor could be somebody who has got a personal vendetta with DavyJnr. Because what was the essence of that kind of abuse? What was the essence of continuing with an onslaught towards DavyJnr when everything was captured in the camera? My kids were captured in the camera. They even apologized. DavyJnr even apologized. But the negative vexations and insult of a few words toward DavyJnr itself makes it otherwise. Makes it looks like there is a personal vendetta that maybe the donor wants to pursue with DavyJnr. What could be it? Because DavyJnr is telling us one thing, that this donor has continued to send him some negative messages. The donor has continued to vex negative and putting DavyJnr to a picture that DavyJnr is not, that a picture that DavyJnr perhaps wanted to sabotage. Let's dive into this video, then we'll watch how it exploded down. Then I will come and give everything into perspective.
Look, someone just wrote, okay. I'm actually filmed properly.
Alright.
So this is a video, I explained all the total mess. People are even here. Says to all donors, when you donate Do it with a clean heart. Stop wanting to control people's lives, okay? You all are out here trying to take advantage of innocent, helpless people because of money. The donor built a shed for the animals. Grandma needed a space to cook for her guests, but now the shed belongs to the donor. She should not cook in there. That is the question, because this donor told me, hey Davy, how can you watch the house that I built for grandma? People are cooking on it, whereas it's not fully finished.
Yeah.
Now she's abused. Actually, I'll show you guys the text if that's what you need, you know.
So it was just meant to be for the cows only.
No. The thing is that it's not like it was meant for the cows only.
Yeah.
She was so mad because we cooked in the new house that she was helping grandma to construct for the house, you know.
Yeah.
Now she was like, the timbers are spoiled out, and she used the word my timbers as being spoiled out.
Oh my God.
And the people here in the comment section are just keeping it real with with her. Like this comment, someone just said, Davy, now things are getting worse, and if they cooked inside, what's the problem? Because you did for them to help them, for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
And they were not
God
even
bless
destroyed.
you. They never. I showed them on my previous video. God bless you for helping without controlling how they use it. For sure, I can't control people's home.
Yeah.
You know, we're helping them without any ultimatums, without any rules and regulations, you know. So someone says, Davy, now things are getting worse, and if they cooked inside, what's the problem? Because you did for them to help them. God bless you for helping without controlling how they use it. I think we should help with love, not to show off, because that is not from God. The hand that gives receives more. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Even I saw the comment, someone was saying, if then because I shared with my audience, like 90% of the house that we are building there has been sponsored by one person. Yes,
Yeah.
lots of people have been pulling up, yes, but a big percentage is one person. So I saw a comment, someone saying, what if grandma from New Jersey says, like, bring everything?
Yeah, imagine.
You know, for her, even she doesn't want her to be known with the people. She's always anonymous. She tells me, hey Davy, please never share my name or anything.
Yes.
But this one now, it's getting out of hand. You know, even I see someone says the person who built the barn has a few screws loose. You know, my timber, is she okay? The tone of the message is rude and unnecessary aggressive. That is it. But right now, guys, she's abusing me. Let me share with you, you know. I don't want to put her number there or something, because people may think like, you know, or something.
More?
She wrote to me as serious. Oh my God. Okay, guys, okay. I don't want to show her name, but okay guys, it's a long message as I don't care. By the end of it all, it's not like I've shared her number. Look guys, imagine all these, you know, like FU Davy, Junior, that's what.
To that video alone, with the message from that particular donor, then it points to one thing. The donor is abusive or manipulative, or lack of a better word, the donor is a control freak. Sometimes you might help a person because the main aim of helping the grandma was the grandma to have a very decent home, or to separate where the grandma was sleeping with the goats and the chicken, not in the same house. But this is the day when the celebration and majority of people were coming. Therefore, it was not even good to cook into where grandma was living before, because the hygienically wasn't good. But being that this place was already been covered, the goats were not yet sleeping there, therefore it was only good for just to hold an event. Nothing was amiss, because Davy Jr., even on that video, even apologized. My kids even apologized. The Mason Nation also apologized. What else was it? What else was it that the donor is still pursuing Davy Jr. in a manner that is so negative in a manner that he wants to welcome David Jr. in the ring of argument, in a ring of seismic kind of or explosive kind of argument that are never making sense. And this is what David Jr. is addressing, that he respects the donor, but is not taking the argument, is not taking the negative insults of FU. Maybe in the West, that is the word that a majority of people uses. I know that people could really mean to be fine, but in African setup, using the FU words back at home really has got a negative connotations. In fact, you'd risk being chased from a particular home or from a particular country within Africa if you use that FU word. Perhaps the donor meant well with the FU word, but in African setup, that's what we not take. But even if you're making jokes, FU word, perhaps you would have made it clear that no, FU, I'm joking, because I must admit that I've engaged with different people from the West, which as for me, the word FU word is nothing to me. I take it because I've traveled, I've taken it because I've engaged with people who use similar jargons towards me, and sometimes I also use towards them. Therefore, nothing is normalized to me. But back home, it carries a lot of weight and a lot of negative connotations with it. Perhaps that's what the donor didn't know. But was it right for donor to ask why the chicken coop was being used? Yes, the donor was very right, because sometimes you also really need a status report. You need to ask the progress. And the same way David Jr. is being asked the progress, and he goes and film and tell people. As per that time, the donor was right to ask. The only thing that was off is to come and own it and give a reprimand, an ultimatum that this thing is not supposed to be used. Just to all. But it was just a short event that people would only take a review. So you want to tell me, what if the grandma couldn't cook anywhere? The house that the grandma lives now is destroyed. So the grandma decided to relocate and decided to cook in that chicken coop. Would you have risen or raised the same question? I believe not. I think the donor is having several negative perceptions against the David Jnr's status quo. And the reason why I'm saying that, the donor is not having problem with helping the grandma square. The donor is having problem, David Jr. is leading the project. And that's why the donor wouldn't wanted to send David Jr. money, or wouldn't wanted David Jr. to lead that kind of project. And that's why the donor decided to bring other sets of YouTubers to go and lead that project to the grandma. Because if it's the donor who believed in David Jr.'s charity and work, he would have taken that money and decided, David Jr., I'm also sponsoring you, and after doing this all concurrently, you can build a chicken coop. But the donor has got the favorite people, which I don't see it bad. You sponsored them. Why drag into David Jr.? So the donor saw it's perhaps maybe David Jr. was trespassing into the project that the only sole people who were supposed to do that, or who were supposed to give the mandate whether people to cook there or not cook there, are the nations and the Bakizo. That is a point I see where the donor was having a problem. But even the Makizo, sometimes they come in and they start filming the David Jr. project, which David Jr. has not raised any other kind of alarm or question. I believe, some donors sometimes might come and support you, but also with conditions and also with bad heart. One, you start a project, or Emma start a project, David Jr. start a project, the Mongo start a project. But what these donors do, because they have their sets of YouTubers that they like, but maybe these YouTubers, their YouTube channels are not doing well, and they want these YouTubers to get number, they will either send you with assignment for you for a shout out, or they will sponsor your project so that you do a project in that home, because the centers of attraction and the numbers are within whether David Jr. is doing work, or whether Amara is doing work, or whether Dimongo is doing work. Now, sending you there automatically will gain you traction, will gain you attention that it already serves. And DavyJnr has not spoken that because DavyJnr has done will. The fact that DavyJnr agreed was a service that was well extended to all these YouTubers. Was also a service that was also extended to this donor, that because their favorite YouTuber are also getting traction and numbers during that course of work. But these are the things that the donor doesn't understand. What could have happened if DavyJnr decided, no, let me finish my work, after finishing everything, therefore you are free to come and start your own. But again, some donors also, you might think they're helping you, but they're also from the opposite end. I've seen donors who will help everybody, doesn't matter whether it's negative, positive. They have got all contacts of the positive, negative guys. They will reach you and help there. And at the same time, others also have got their personal vendetta. But overall, helping grandma was not bad. The negative thing is throwing insult to DavyJnr. DavyJnr has taken upon himself and even requested for permission, even requested for apologies, and said that he's sorry. If cooking into that chicken coop was a problem, they're very sorry. And DavyJnr has told you nothing has really been broken. My kids also did the same. Why could you just let DavyJnr do the work? Why can't you just cut the slack of insult? Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Until next time, this is your boy Senior Zach.